pirate.
You ain't saying nothing.
Cause this Cinco de Fabo.
All right, we on YouTube.
The pirate on his off day. I ain't going on the ship today. I'm just chilling.
But we never use that, so just monitor it and make sure it don't go out.
Okay, this is a Hispanic accent with that.
This is literally my outfit from Key West. This is
What's up, YouTube?
Bears on parade.
Bro, listen, podcast, switching it up, doing something different, coming on y'all here. So y'all gonna watch us
Man, I don't see this shit.
recording a podcast. I don't know. I don't think it come up like that.
It's not live.
Yeah.
It ain't live.
No, it ain't live.
It's live right there.
Hold on, is YouTube live?
It's on YouTube live, but it's not gonna post immediately. It posts when I say post it.
Yeah.
It's not live.
This is the greatest start to a YouTube live video ever.
It's recorded right now. But once you say live, it's gonna.
I already clicked it. Once I save it in, then it'll post to YouTube.
Oh, so after we done,
Yeah.
So it ain't doing it live then. Oh, this is so.
It's
Stop
live.
this recording.
Get out and go back in and see if it pop up.
Yeah, I'll do.
Y'all ain't just see intern Bud crawl across the floor.
Intern Ronaldo. Fresh from the beach.
Intern Bud.
Two margaritas for me and my poppy.
Yeah.
Wait, cut that. He's a conservative racist.
That's
Well,
it.
it's not gonna pop up until you upload it. So yeah.
It should though for Tank though, cause you want it should.
Well, can anybody go on YouTube see it right now?
Should I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know how this works. We'll figure it out. First time. Intern Bud dressed like a Key West pirate today.
Oh, hold on.
So that's beautiful. All right, man. Y'all ready, man? To get started, I'm gonna start the intro. You ready to take? Cause you look like you still doing your thing.
I'm running that shit.
Yeah. Your phone on silent?
Oh shit. Okay.
Everybody like, wait a minute.
That's good to know. All right.
Connie had hers on silent. Good job, Connie. Alright. Alright, I'm about to start the intro. 3, 2, 1. All power to the people. It's the Bruh Listen Podcast, the Black podcast focusing on social political issues and how they affect our community. With your hosts, Bria Ward, Cedric Owens, Matt Smiley, and Anthony Rogers. Bruh Listen. Bruh Nation, what's good? Episode number 11, the holy number, a new beginning. We done switch things up. We streaming live on the YouTube. So y'all can check us out on the YouTube now. We'll post it to Facebook later. But yeah, we trying to do this and grind. So we on the YouTube. And then we back again for another episode. Everybody feeling good? Feeling good? Back at it, exactly.
Yeah, all that. I'm alright.
Yeah.
It ain't on Facebook.
Tank trying real hard to find us streaming live right now. He's struggling.
There's some bugs.
We ain't never been live on Tinder. Come on now.
We're streaming live on Plenty of Fish. If you look, it's swipe right. If you're not, die. But it's all good. Nah, man. Been a real interesting week. So real cool, interesting things going on. Before the show, Tank had us listening to some Starlito. Is garbage.
It's hot.
It's hot garbage.
It's hot garbage.
It's hot garbage.
Hey,
Starlito was trash. It wasn't good.
It was not good.
It wasn't good.
What did he say? What was it there?
It don't matter. I can't remember it because it was trash.
No.
I thought it
Because you
did.
didn't listen. That's
The
right.
first time I heard Lil Uzi, XO Tour Life, I really can't. I do that instantly.
What about Starlito spoke to you, Tank? What lyrics?
Well, the beat and the substance of what he was saying.
Such as.
Fuck y'all niggas. That's what he said.
Oh, you like the George Jefferson rap.
That's what's up. But we'll use that to segue because Starlito can say whatever he want on his raps because free speech. So intern Bud is currently Googling Starlito. It's going to be epic.
Don't waste your time.
Don't waste your time, intern
It's
Bud.
okay.
But yeah, Starlito can say whatever he want in his rap because of free speech. Something that happened this week was the NFL came down with a ruling saying that free speech Well, I feel like they're saying free speech is not acceptable within their workplace environment by saying that they will fine you if you
Ain't
take
nothing
a
wrong
knee
with
for
that
the
either.
anthem. So, yeah, all of it stems back to the Colin Kaepernick taking the knee thing. And basically, the NFL owners unanimously voted, except the Jets owner who abstained, that you should be fined and penalized if you choose to, and I quote, not respect the flag or the anthem during the ceremonies. And if you didn't want to respect the flag and the anthem, you could stay in the locker room or whatever. So, like, I personally feel like this is a violation of the free speech, a violation of their civil rights to protest. But I know other people feel different. Y'all just heard Tank in the background say ain't nothing wrong with that. So Tank, we'll start with you this week, baby boy.
Hey,
Let me know why ain't nothing wrong with it. Oh, you been waiting for me to start with you?
Yeah. Why ain't nothing wrong with it? Let me tell you why ain't nothing wrong with it. First of all, because this is a job, nigga. This is not you on the street. You can say whatever you want to on the street. But when you go to a job, you got to follow the rules. Like when I was working at bullshit Wendy's.
Where the medical workers?
When I was working at bullshit Wendy's, and they said you got to say, "Well, hi, welcome to Wendy's." And everybody that walked through the motherfucking door. I didn't want to do that shit, but they say you got to do it, or you get your ass fired. Now, in the case of the protesting the thing, they're not stopping them from their free speech, from protesting everything. You're just not going to do it while you're at work. And that's their rules. They run the shit.
But you know, saying hi, welcome to Wendy's. Me and you had this conversation earlier. Saying hi, welcome to Wendy's is like a part of the company protocol. So I understand what you're saying by that. But saying that I have to stand for the national anthem, I feel like that's violating my civil rights because I have the right of an American not to stand for your anthem.
That's a new company protocol.
No,
Because
no, even if it's-
decided to stand
yeah.
up for themselves.
So you're all right.
It's not like a protocol for the NFL.
You are right. But if they make it a protocol, like they could change
It's a rule.
whatever they want to.
Yeah, but
Yeah, if they want to do it, they could do it. That's
so
their
that's a direct violation of the Constitution and of all of
No, you don't go to jail. You go to jail.
I agree with Will, actually.
You're not protected under the Constitution on a job of free speech. You can't just bring a gun to work because you want to bring it to work. If the job say no guns, no guns. You can't just say what you want to say. If the job say don't say this, don't say that. You got to do it.
But
or
you're taking
lose
away
that job.
You're taking away one of my inalienable rights, which is I don't have to stand for the anthem. That's an inalienable right as an American
Nobody
citizen.
has a
No,
job.
because that's like if I come into work and I got my fro going on and they say, hey, we don't like your fro, you need to straighten your hair.
That's a violation of civil rights.
That's not. That is not. It is not like that.
That's a violation
But
of
I'm
civil
gonna tell you
rights.
what it is like. See, what's so disappointing is it was never about the anthem. It was never about free speech. True.
Yeah.
So if we're not gonna talk about unarmed black men being killed in mass without discrimination, we falling for the trick. This is a trick, right? It's a smokescreen. It's not a new policy. It's not a attempt to stop or the way protests work is we gonna do what you don't want us to do until you do something the way you're supposed to, right? Whether you can take a knee or not at work, it is can I wear bow ties on casual Friday or not without offending somebody. And if the company comes up with a policy that says you can't, wearing your bow tie is being a protest. This new policy is garbage.
What about the union though?
What about
So the NFL and the players union have an agreement that whenever it's called a collective bargaining agreement. Everybody, Teamsters that have it with UPS and all kinds of other unions have it or whatever. So they entered into their collective bargaining agreement saying that these are the rules and they accept it. So they changed the rules without consulting the union at all because DeMauro Smith, who's the head of the NFL's players union, was like, they didn't even talk to us before they did this. They just did it.
if it was a problem, they wouldn't be showing up to OTAs and voluntary mini
Ooh.
camps.
I think they would show up regardless because they don't have money.
I think a lot of teams already reported to work.
Shout out to Jalen and Boye for not showing up. And if you want your latest on
He had a family.
a family thing, well, if you want your latest updates on sports, me and intern Bud got a sports podcast called Flag on the Play. Y'all can check that out. Like and subscribe. And we on YouTube too. Okay, but moving on from that, I gotta get my plugs. Plugs. Even though take the plug or whatever. Intern Bud just got me the players, and they say the NFL chose not to consult the union in the development of this new policy. The statement began, NFL Players Union have showed their patriotism through their social activism, their community service in support of military and law enforcement, and yes, through the protests to raise awareness about issues they care about. The vote by the NFL club CEOs today contradicts the statement made to our players and leadership from Commissioner Roger Goodell and Chairman of the NFL Management Council, John Mara, about the principles and values of patriotism in the league. Our union will not review the new policy and challenges any aspect of the inconsistencies with the collective bargaining agreement. So basically, right there, DeMar Smith saying we don't even acknowledge the new rules because y'all ain't even talked to us about it, so it don't even count. So what about that?
Wow, I never heard it.
She said something.
Why you bring on the spot?
Condi, yeah, go ahead, Condi. Run it, man. I want to hear from you anyways, Brett. So what you feel about that, dude? I actually agree with you on this. I feel like they violate their constitutional rights.
I mean, they are. There's no question about whether or not.
So elaborate on that for the people like Tank and the people out there on YouTube and everywhere else that don't understand why they violate their rights.
I mean, literally in the Bill of Rights, it says free speech, which means your freedom to protest, freedom to say what you want to say, freedom to write what you want to write, freedom to post what you want to post.
Oh,
And so them taking the knee was their way of protesting, which means they're taking away that right from them.
All right, so let me say this. That's not the only right that's in the Bill of Rights. You also have
But that's the one we talk about.
I know, but it's
she's a law student.
It's also a right to bear arms in there.
Okay.
It's a right to have your pistol.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to bring my pistol to work, should the company not be able to tell me not to?
Yes, because the right to bear arms they're not violating your constitutional rights to bear arms because that means ownership of arms.
They are, because you can't bring it to. You can't have.
But you don't have the right to walk around with your gun in Florida. Period.
No,
we don't have to carry. Go ahead, man. I'm
Here's
sorry.
the real question. The real question is that declaration that everybody's clinging to for the freedom of speech.
The Constitution.
That's between states and private citizens.
Thank you, Matt.
Now, as a private employer, the NFL, much like your Chick-fil-A bottoms up reference earlier, if they tell you it's gonna be blue polka dot bikini Wednesday, guess what? If you don't like it, you have the right to find other employment or comply.
The Bill of Rights protects you from going to jail.
No.
That's
The
not
Bill
true.
of
They do free speech.
no,
You can't go to jail for free
no.
speech.
The Bill of Rights speaks to the relationship of the state, the government, and individual citizens. The NFL is not a government.
But I'm saying though,
There's no precedent
with state stuff and all of that. If I'm on the streets, I can say whatever I want and not go to prison.
Because the state cannot arrest you for speaking your mind.
Yes.
But if you go to Wendy's and you say, look, motherfucker, we ain't got no more zesty sauce. Wendy's can't fire you as a private corporation.
Yes. I was saying this is a job.
I know.
A private
I
corporation.
understand it's a job, but okay. So y'all don't think this is a civil rights issue at all? Because like I kind of agree with what Bria said about like the hair thing. So back in the day, they could say, "Hey, your hair needs to be this certain way." Or whatever to work here, and then the civil rights bill passed, and they couldn't say that anymore. Same thing with being handicapped or whatever, because it's an inalienable right, no matter how you look or your function of life, to be able to work. So it's an inalienable right in America to not stand for the anthem. That's your right. So at school, can we change the policies at school now and say kids have to stand for the anthem?
A public school run by the government is a different thing.
What about a private school?
When has it ever been okay to show up at Chick-fil-A in the devil man?
If a private school wants to do that and say you have to stand for the pledge, and they can't do that because people are paying money.
I don't think they can do
So I
that.
feel like they
Yes, they
should be able
can.
to override
Yes,
the
they
rights.
can.
Yeah, because now you're saying
Because somebody's paying, you're paying to go there. If you don't want to do that, don't pay to go there.
I get what you're saying,
Yeah,
but
that's it.
I agree with Bria. Like so your private school or the NFL overrides the Constitution?
Yes.
It
No,
can't. Nothing in the
The
law.
Constitution is what it is.
No, yes, it does. So.
It's
Maybe y'all ain't realize it, but it does.
So
It
here,
does because they let it happen, but that doesn't mean it's supposed to.
No,
happen.
you don't
That's
have.
stupid.
Now,
Now,
hold on. You don't have free speech
Now,
to say whatever you want on the
I'm
job.
glad Bria said
Right.
that. That's what when I was talking to you about this earlier this week, I was like, it's only going this way because they letting it happen. They need to take it to the Supreme Court. Because
Wait a minute.
because they-
We're gonna fire you first.
If every single NFL player kneels, they ain't gonna fire everybody.
that's true. But you know that ain't happening.
That's
bro.
a- that's a-
I know it's
Yeah,
not
that's
happening. I'm
a
just
pipe.
saying.
No, you're right, but that's
So are you
fine.
saying the players should be able to say whatever they want to say at work?
What do you mean say whatever you
Say
want
whatever
to
they
say?
want to say.
No, I'm saying
Why
that.
not? That's free speech.
Why can't they? Why
Because
not?
you have a job. Can I say whatever I want to say at Wendy's?
No, let's make it simple.
It's the same thing as a job. Let's just say Wendy's.
I recall a few weeks ago, or maybe it was a day ago, when we were talking about Michael Sam and boys kissing on the TV screen. You can't tell me what we is and ain't gonna watch in our house. Because it's a private
There you
property.
go.
Mhm.
This ain't got nothing to do with going to jail. This ain't got nothing to do with the Constitution. On this private property, if you don't abide by these rules, you'll be asked to leave.
The NFL is not a government.
It's right. It's not a government. It's a private. It's private. Just like your home is private.
Meaning you have a
They are
choice to
using
be there
their
or not.
platform to protest. That's already covered in the Constitution.
Listen,
You get what I'm saying?
no,
So just
no,
because
it's
they
not
decide
covered.
to
It's
of the
not.
make or
No,
rule,
that's
so
not-
it doesn't
that's
cancel
not-
out.
That's not how it works.
So okay, so I'm coming to your house tomorrow with 24 hours of gay porn.
It's a different story.
I mean,
No, it's not.
It's private.
Why? It's your private property, just like the NFL is a private company. See, that's the thing. I stand with the protesters.
Of course, everybody stand with the protesters.
Everybody
at the
don't,
table.
because if everybody did,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everybody.
Policy.
I'm gonna say everybody at the table do.
Yeah.
But we already know we all agree with Kaepernick.
but my argument is, it don't matter who say you can't do what if you're protesting, because protest is supposed to make people uncomfortable.
Right.
Protest is supposed to make people go, what is that about? But the protest has nothing to do with the anthem. It has nothing to do with the U.S. military. It has nothing to do with the right to free speech or not free speech.
Ain't got nothing
It
to do
has
with
to
flag.
do with why when I get pulled over, it's a 50-50 chance I may or may not live, regardless of the circumstances. It's a 50-50 chance that as a black man, when I see flashing lights, this may be my last day on earth. The flag doesn't matter at that point. The cop's not going, well, he does have the right to the pursuit of happiness. Maybe he likes driving fast.
Nobody talking about that no more. It's about being able to.
No, we talking about it now.
Yeah, we talking about
We
it.
talking
I'm
about
talking
it
about
now.
the narrative of the story now. You don't even hear that narrative.
You know what though? I want to say this.
They're
though.
hijacked.
So,
They trying to.
but they
it's a
did
smoke
it.
screen.
I was about to say
They
they did it
trying.
on purpose. So what this is a smoke screen from the people who don't want the light to be shined on the atrocities that's really going on. So that's why I said take it to the Supreme Court, because I feel like don't let them take away what you're doing. Fight it to the end.
That's not a valid path.
What how you think what they should do then? Because I got a few solutions.
Connie?
Oh yeah, you
My
was about to
question
talk.
was the same question.
Why is it not something you would take to the Supreme Court?
Yeah, why?
Because it's a private corporation. It would be the same as going to the Supreme Court and saying Chick-fil-A need to be open on Sundays because the biscuit's so good.
This is not the same
No,
thing.
I have the right to free biscuits. I have
That's
a
not the
coupon.
same thing.
Everybody
No,
that's
you doing something
No,
with
just
speech.
like I can
It's
say,
like,
Okay, so you want something with speech? You want something with speech?
if I feel discriminated against in my job, like I said with the whole Afro thing, and they tell me I gotta straighten my hair, I can sue them, and they gotta pay me money for discriminating.
That's a whole different
Okay,
thing
now
though.
let me
Let's
ask
talk
you
about
How is that
speech.
different?
If you work for Disney World and your job is to dress up as Goofy outside of Space Mountain,
All characters.
Goofy, everybody knows Goofy. If you show up as Goofy in a dashiki, you want to take that to the Supreme
It's
Court?
different. You know what your
No,
job
Wakanda.
is.
I would say
No, Wakanda.
the whole thing.
Goofy.
The whole thing with the hair and you can't come in. I mean, that's something you're born with. You come in there with
That's
your
your
hair
But all
like
white
that.
people don't
No,
feel
no,
that.
Okay, stop.
Your
But
hair
when
is
you're
not
talking
beautiful.
about, I know what you're gonna say. You're born with these rights.
That's
Say
right.
Whatever. No, you don't have to say whatever you want to say, but you have to have that hair like that. That's too different. That's
But the
everything.
Constitution don't say, in my opinion, the Constitution don't say you have these rights unless they say you have these
No, no,
rights.
I think
That's
I know
it.
where y'all fucking up at. This is where y'all fucking up
For
at.
the
Y'all
man.
are getting
Just
the
that,
private
for the
business.
man.
Like Matt said, y'all getting the private business mixed up with the government.
Right.
Private and public.
Just
You
different
can't
things.
drink in the park. You
Yeah.
can drink in your backyard.
Yeah, this-
What is this nigga doing?
Do the first thing.
But, listen,
You an
everybody
intern.
in Bruh Nation, everybody in Bruh Nation,
We will
y'all have no
have to thank
idea
Julio
what
Top Shelf.
intern Bud doing right
We will have
now.
to thank Julio for all of his
He just went
efforts.
straight bubblegum straight across the floor.
Oh my god.
with the freaking prone crawl. Oh man, that's great. That was crazy. Okay, so
what is free speech? So, free speech is like when you're free to say whatever you want, right?
Right.
But there's consequences to free speech. If you say something in the public, even if you work for the state or anybody, if you say something, it still have consequences, public outcry, and then you can lose shit. So everybody got free speech.
right, but the consequences. Wait.
That they're not supposed to.
You're right. The consequences.
No, the public
It's
can offer consequences because it's public opinion.
Right, that's public opinion.
No.
Public opinion don't have nothing to do with you telling me I have to stand for the anthem.
Yeah, that's a private business. I can tell you to stand for the anthem.
Can someone?
If you work for me, I can tell you.
Further
You gotta
than-
stand.
Further
Yeah,
than
boss.
we need a definition of private corporation versus public institution.
Yeah, we need that. Cause you know what? Then here's what I was gonna say. One of my solutions is, all right. So we need to. It's time for the players to step up and look at themselves in the mirror, and look at what they value more. Is it the millions and millions of dollars, or is it?
Or I would be like, hey, look at me.
No, listen, hear me out. You ain't hear my point, because I ain't gonna say everybody take a knee, because that's clearly the obvious, easy thing to do. What we need to do at this point is we need all the players to basically don't play, and we need to have people like P. Diddy and Jay-Z,
All of which players?
all the players, black players in the NFL.
What are they not playing for?
Let me tell you.
Let me finish. And P. Diddy and Jay-Z and all them, they need to step up, and we need to start our own league then.
All right, now what are they not playing for?
You're not playing because they basically telling you, shut your mouth.
Wait.
We don't want to hear about
They're
your
not playing
problems.
for in order to be able to protest.
No, you're
It's
not,
not about
playing
police
because
brutality.
you're
I'm saying it's not about police brutality.
No, you
Like, and everybody said stop watching the NFL.
Okay.
It wasn't about protest no more. Everybody said stop watching because they say you can't kneel. It's all not even about the prison system and the exorcist.
That's fine.
But now it's about kneeling.
They still can
It's still a
protest.
black issue. Council they still a protest.
It's still a black issue
kneeling.
because even if it's not about police brutality no more, now it's about making niggas shut up.
Now I'm gonna tell you.
Don't speak your mind.
You gotta shut up. That's the job.
That's a straw man argument. That doesn't hold any weight. Because what you're saying then is, if you're African American and you work for a corporation that either A, doesn't care about diversity, B, has policies in place that discriminate against African Americans, C, they done kick somebody out at the prom about some 50-cent silverware, we got to boycott the whole thing. You asking these people to put their livelihood on pause.
Well, see, that's why I think it'll work.
Well, you work for a racist
Right. Well, you put your
company.
Because bottoms up. Let me tell you something.
Man,
So you don't think if every black player in the NFL is,
which means there's no NFL.
They're the ones that are making the money.
Right, there's no NFL without every player.
Everything raised up and voted. We'll have everything.
If they
Oh,
took a
really,
deal,
sir?
oh my gosh. If they took a deal, that's a good point.
Yeah.
If everything still up,
Okay.
go on.
80%, intern budget said 80% of the NFL is black.
I thought it was high.
So
It don't matter. That would make a difference.
So
They
what
all
you-
made
what
it
you
like,
would
hey,
have-
we ain't playing until
what you would have is Blake Bortles throwing balls to air. Is what you would have. And that's not gonna last that
It's not
long.
gonna last long.
But
They
no.
gonna realize.
But why are we not holding? Okay, that's the NFL. Now let's look at what is it? The income gap between women and men's pay. So should we also boycott any corporation if you work at a job where a black woman doesn't make the same amount as a white woman for the same job description? Quit your job tomorrow.
Automatically do that quick.
Quit your job tomorrow.
Now, I will say this.
We
I
gonna all
understand
be
what
in
you're
the
saying, man,
streets.
and I actually agree with you. I feel like logistically, I understand why you're saying it would be difficult to do. But if we did it, it would make a change instantly. Just like with the Memphis bus boycotts. Niggas walked to work.
To where?
10, 15 miles because they didn't catch the bus because they wanted to make a difference, and it made a difference.
Still like the underlying preference to why they did it and why they was doing it.
So you don't think
I don't
you don't
think
think
that
the white
shit-
girls-
I don't
you
think
don't
this shit is worth it.
Did
I
they,
don't think that's worth it.
did they quit their jobs for the buses?
Did they quit their jobs?
No,
No, they didn't quit.
No, they didn't quit
No,
their
they
jobs.
made a lot of sacrifices.
But that was a hell of a sacrifice.
They did make a lot of sacrifices.
Listen, players. Listen to the 80%. I feel
80%.
like it's 85 after the preseason. 85% in the NFL that's African American. If in fact that you feel like there's too much happening, that we're taking too much of the weight at this point in time as black culture, continue your job where you make enough money to where you can invest in your community to make sure that our children get the opportunities to get into positions to where, you know what, they can be the owner. LeBron James, he on pace to be a billionaire player.
Yeah, LeBron is a black hero though.
Floyd Mayweather, he's on pace to be somebody. And you know what though? Again, it's so many unnamed players who do so much between camps, schools, scholarships, that guess what? If y'all think that taking a knee is big enough to stop that flow, listen, take your knee, pay a $15,000 fine. In the case of Jacksonville, Shah Khan said he picking up the tab.
Jets owner said you gonna pay.
Well, let me just say,
Ain't nothing
to your point. Yeah, to your point. That's why I said if they're gonna do it and they're not gonna play, the underlying preference has to be something. The foundation has to be strong on what they're doing it on. And I don't think this petty argument about kneeling for the flag, that's not enough for what all they do with the community to get that up.
I think y'all are underestimating because these white owners, they care a lot about their money.
But it's important.
I agree.
Because
Bria just made a good point. Because this banning the players from kneeling, the owners don't give a shit if the players kneel or don't kneel. It's about their cash flow. Because they had a whole bunch of people bitching about the fact that players were taking knees because most of the fans are good old boys.
But
But you say they not, but the shit, they just changed the policy for the ones who kneel.
if they were, then why were they still selling out these games?
Well, maybe,
with all these
now that's what
Negroes?
me and Matt had that conversation either. Maybe the NFL is wrong and mistaken. Maybe it's one of those cases of the vocal minority or whatever. Or
The smoke screen?
right, but remember the vocal minority with Trump too now. Remember they was like, oh, it's not enough of them. They just real vocal the little bit that
No,
is.
no, no,
And
no.
then when the election came, yes, we didn't have enough to vote, but it was a hell of a lot of Trump.
We
niggas
didn't
coming
have
out with
enough
woodwork.
Americans vote. If only 47% of the electorate showed out in the Trump campaign. If you telling me at this table, the four of us have a choice to vote, players can or can't kneel, and two of us decide we're not gonna vote at all, does that reflect the opinion of this table? It doesn't. See, I feel like the thing with the kneeling, one, if you at work, do what you gotta do to keep your check, keep your lights on. Take care of home, family first.
The point is we shouldn't have to do that.
We shouldn't have to do what? We shouldn't have to fight for what we want?
No. We shouldn't have to just not be able to do something that we feel like is a thing for justice because we want to have to keep our lights on. You're right. We should keep our lights on, but we shouldn't have to sit
If
through
it
that
was
level.
white people doing this and saying, hey, we're protesting this wouldn't have happened.
But if
The
I had-
NFL wouldn't have made that rule.
Kaepernick should have said, I'm taking a knee for white babies and police protection.
Exactly.
He should
Everybody
say it like that.
loved it.
Everybody loved it.
No, I'm
Loved it.
confused because before the rule came out, the rule just came out this past week.
Yeah.
We had a full season go through. So are you telling me that you watched every NFL game and you saw every African American taking a knee?
No. It's
That's
not even-
before there was a penalty on the table.
I would say of that
Because
80%,
everybody's
less
not
than,
willing to fight for that.
I was about to say, of that 80%, less than 10% are even taking these. And matter of fact, intern Bud said that
That's
10% of the
why
viewership went down.
That-
So that's 10% of the NFL's viewership went down.
It's
So let me tell you something. Well, hold on, before you get that point. That's how much the NFL care about money. 10% is not a significant number. It's a number, but it's not a significant number where they still made $26 billion or whatever they made last year. But they care so much about the cash that they changed the rule for that 10% of people. They want all of it.
1% is significant, as in.
Very true. I would agree with that, man. If you're in business, 1% can be significant. The revenue, intern Bud with the facts here. This year's revenue of the National Football League will be somewhere north of $9 billion, which means the league remains the most lucrative in the world. But NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell wants more, much more. He stated he wants to be a $25 billion annual revenue league.
I know what it is.
Can't do that without me.
I think
That's true. You can't do that. Say it loud, Bria. You can't do that without niggas. That's true.
I think it's the fact that this shit is on TV that niggas forget that they have employers. And they forget, no, but that's why they say they should be able to do whatever. They should be able to protest on the job. They forget that this is a job. Like if I'm hiring somebody and you work for me and I tell you don't kneel for the flag, you don't kneel.
You basically telling me our rights don't matter.
No, that's not what we
But
talking
Yes, in my job, I'm telling you, all of that shit go out the door. Yes, I am telling you.
Tank ain't got no job. You know what I think though?
If you're
You're listening to the argument from
right.
everybody and me and Bria over this side and y'all over that line or whatever. I think it's a philosophical argument, which is, do you have the right to protest at a job? Now, that's like if I had a pen That's not that.
Protest at a job.
Listen.
At somebody else's job. Let me take them like at 5 at my job.
This is why protest. This is what protest is. Protest is saying, here are your rules. I don't like them.
Right.
And I'm saying something bigger than that. But you know what we should do? I just figured it out. If the NFL making that kind of money, we don't need them to kneel black people. We're not buying no jerseys. We're not going to no games. We're not getting in red zone. We're going to spend our money on our communities instead. No jerseys, no peace. No jerseys, no peace.
We tried that last year.
But still, what are we doing?
It became a protest of a protest of a protest.
Colin Kaepernick will have a job if we said as African Americans, you know what, Colin? You was on to something. They have a bit, you know what? It comes to a point where you say to yourself, the people who have a say ain't saying what I need them to say. That's what his kneel was about.
We have to be truly unified though, because like,
Do it?
I don't think Kaepernick, because here's the thing, and that's why I said we got to start our own leagues then, because Kaepernick ain't gonna have no job because the owner's white.
No.
And at the end of the day, if we had a black owner, the closest thing to a black owner we have is right here in Duval with Shah Khan, because he's a Pakistani, but he's a rich Pakistani. So from my experience with rich people or whatever, they tend to be the same as like white people in that same circumstance, right?
Like OJ.
Like OJ, right. So even though they're like, oh, I'm not black, I'm OJ, right? So when they had that vote of 32 teams or whatever, they know 80% of their league is black. They know 13% of their fan base is African American, whatever. And they know that these issues are about African American issues or whatever, so on and so forth, right? But they still made the decision to pass that rule because we don't have no representation in that room at all. So that's why I said you gotta have your own. It's just like last week or the week before, we was advocating for let's keep Atlanta going and keep building it up and make it Black Hollywood. Let's make it all black. Same thing. Let's do our own leagues then. Cause as long as we let the white man own the league and say, hey,
Man,
well, this, that, and the third.
Niggas is just niggas talking about making a Wakanda.
Let's do
This shit
it.
ain't gonna happen.
Let's do it.
It's nice to say. It's really nice to say.
I bet the Wakanda Football League is lit.
It's really nice to say. I'm so much of a nihilist.
No colonizers.
No.
Intern Ferdinand. 80% of the league is African American. Could you tell me what percent of the league took a knee? And don't count Chris Long because he's Caucasian.
Oh, can I take a
That's before we get to
let's go around the table and take a guess. Bria, of the percentage, 80% of the players in the league are African American. What's the percentage you think protested? I'm gonna say take a knee or put the fist in the air.
Or locked arms.
Or locked arms. How many do you think protested?
Locked arms don't count, right?
No, yeah, I agree. Locked arms don't count.
Like,
Locked arms don't
Yeah.
count. I'm gonna say the fist count and the knee count. What you think? What's the percentage?
Percent.
I'm gonna go with 9.
9%.
Nine. Lord,
Tank,
that mercy.
Tank, what you think the percentage of
Definitely
of
be
the NFL?
Oh,
Because
okay.
we ain't gotta say white players, because no white player besides Chris Long protested.
Yeah, well.
So you go ahead. And Chris Long ain't do nothing but put his hand on niggas'
My
shoulder.
grade point average in the 8th grade was a .5617. That's the percentage.
Half a percent.
Half a percent.
Half a percent.
Half a percent.
Okay.
Boy, that is horrendous.
Jeez Louise.
Matt, what you think, baby?
I think that Tank is a miracle to get this far. I think that it was Colin Kaepernick, Michael Bennett, them other two dudes from the Seahawks. That's 6 on a 53-man roster. It was lower than your GPA. I'm gonna say it was .0005671.
I would
Stick
say.
with my 9%.
I would say. I think 9% too high. I think
It
that's
is
too
too high,
low.
but I want
I think about 3%.
You wish
3%
I
of the
wish it
African
was
American
9%.
players.
in the
Because
Wakanda.
every team had at least one.
That'd be 30 niggas.
Not every team had at least one.
You might be right, but I feel like every team had one.
Whatever it is, that's 30 niggas.
Cromartie got cut. Remember, Cromartie got cut.
The Cowboys locked arms before the anthem, so that's 0.
How many players in all, bud?
That's for another podcast.
That's another podcast. That was a
That's for another podcast. What was that? Intern.
Okay, intern Bud with the answers here before we move on to the next topic. Approximately 12% of NFL players did not stand for the national anthem. This is the date after Trump had said
One day.
those son of a bitches. Yeah. If you combine the players who didn't stand with 3 teams who weren't on the sidelines, it was 23%.
Haha.
So
that's pretty high.
So out of 80%,
it's 23.
25%. That's worse than voting.
That's
in
way worse.
2016.
And
Who
listen,
cares?
That's why.
Still more people than
Let's say $1 ball.
That's why I said when we're talking about we should make our own league and everything.
We can make our own.
Who gonna pay the bills? No. It's not my mind thing. The nigga that's in the league mind thing.
Oh,
My mind is still in. Huh? Who gonna pay the bills till Puff Daddy and Jay-Z get the big 3 of football together?
We got everything we need right now in order to do this shit, but it ain't gonna get done.
See, the NFL slick. Let's not, and we're gonna move on to the next topic. But let's not get off the fact that the NFL owners are slick and they trying to play both sides because they just sold the Carolina Panthers to a dude from the Steelers or whatever who is he's not African American, but he's a big time like advocate of African American things and stuff like that. And the Steelers started the Rooney Rule, which is where you had to interview an African American and stuff like that. This dude wasn't nowhere on the radar of the original owners they had lined up to buy the Panthers, but they skipped over.
Okay, y'all take this. We'll do this.
Yeah, they said Roger Small. They sold it to David Tapper for $2.3 billion. Now, this dude, he was a partial owner of the Steelers and Heinz Ketchup or whatever. He $2.3 billion.
Well, I work for Heinz now.
But the owners,
I work for this nigga.
Busted.
Yeah, man.
Damn.
But
Shit. Hold on.
You better stand for the NFL.
don't find Mr. Tapper. He gonna stand for that animal though.
It's only temporary. So y'all can't find me.
But yeah, that dude was not like the number one dude to buy the Panthers. It was the dude from the that owned the NASCAR. Bill France was like number one. And a whole bunch of other dudes. But you already know what NASCAR said about standing for that anthem.
But it's a private industry. We can pick on you on here.
Yeah, Diddy and Steph Curry dropped out because it got too hot, but that's understandable. They ain't got no money for that shit.
Because they want to be. Because they have the freedom of... Scott, you cannot come and hijack the mic.
But it's just right.
Kunsanova, you have the right to free speech. You cannot come hijack.
Now, I can understand that if you...
No,
now,
private.
That's different. Yeah.
Tell me how to run my show.
But we're going to tell you...
Tell me how to run my
because I want to get to the other topic a little bit or whatever. Because we killing this one. I mean, we're doing well, but I'm going to get to the other one. The other thing we was going to talk about, the This Is America video is still a hot topic. It's still going on. Every time you get on Facebook, you still see Donald Glover doing the little Richard Pryor pose or whatever. Now, that's a lot of cultural references in there and a lot of people saying different things. And it's positive and negative feedback on the video or whatever. Some people say Donald Glover, come on, intern, bud.
You got to stop, man. We doing that still training at the 685 studios.
Bruh Nation, if y'all could look and see intern, bud, I mean...
Big ass wall.
I can tell you. He moves like a swan. I would take him in the 5th round.
He got a nice bubble.
You can take a knee next season.
Oh my goodness, bro! Like, you know what? That nigga ain't dying in no foxhole. He ready right now. He got the prone crawl down. Oh man, that just literally made me cry, bro. Like when he said the big seal. Y'all, oh my god. Anywho, yeah, man, the Donald Glover This Is America video is real heavy, and it's of course the things in its symbolism influencing our culture. We wanted to get into like hip hop and how it influences our culture in general, like as a whole. How has it shaped Black culture? Do you think it's positive, the negative aspects of it, whatever? I know Bria had wanted to talk about this weeks ago, or whatever. So Bria, what's your thoughts on the whole hip hop influencing Black culture? Do you think it's a positive, negative thing, whatever?
I'm torn between the two. I think it's negative in the fact where, of course, when they're calling girls derogatory names.
Intern Bud.
Go
ahead.
Calling girls derogatory names and talking about killing each other and things like that. That makes it negative. But I think that it's so much a part of our culture now, and everybody wants to be a part of it. Like every commercial I turn on now, you got a beat on it, somebody rapping and stuff like that. So I think I'm
Bruno Mars.
Got Kelly over there trying to dance and stuff.
Yeah.
So I look at it from both aspects. I really don't appreciate the derogatory. There's literally like a song with Chris Brown. I think it's called Love More or something.
Oh, I don't know. I'll listen to that white beater now.
So, I'm not gonna rap it, but
I'm not familiar.
I'm also not familiar with the song.
Afterthought. So in the first verse, he's talking and he's like, "Oh, I got this white girl, blah blah blah." He's calling her a white girl, whatever. Then in the second verse, he started talking about the black chick, and he called her the B word, and he called her the H word.
He called the white girl a bitch.
But he ain't called the white girl that. You feel me?
Who
And
is
so,
honey?
I believe it's bitch is the correct term. Oh, bitch.
why you pay me?
Listen to Chris Brown.
What's the name of my CD?
I think it's either Love More or
Intern, look up the lyrics to Love More by Chris Brown. Cool
it's
shit.
either Love or the other one. By
So basically, you're saying that he's not being derogatory towards the white woman, but he's being derogatory towards the black woman.
right, and I think that's still something that's really impacting
Our culture.
Yeah.
Say what you think.
Bitch is a bitch, a hoe is a hoe. What we gonna do? The bitches out here. There's hoes. I can't talk about the bitches. I love bitches. All kinds of bitches.
I have no idea what you said.
I just said I love bitches. I am of enough wisdom and stuff to separate the black woman from a bitch. But when any nigga is talking to his fellas and they talking or whatever, like they got Morgan Freeman for this shit now, this bullshit. And he got to talk about sexual assault. If women could hear, how niggas talk about any chick, let me talk about any bitch at the workplace, and they heard how niggas talk, everybody at the goddamn workplace will be getting charged with sexual assault.
Now that's true, because I just told Bria last week, we was talking after the podcast, and we was talking about if you could read, if like she could read dude's mind or whatever, right?
Like, I stick my whole head.
And I told her, no, take right. I told Bria, I was like, you don't want to know what men think on a regular basis.
Look here, we sexually assaulting y'all on a
That's
minute
actually
by
true.
minute
I can't even deny that. You're right, man.
Get out.
Why you showing your teeth? That's creepy.
But playing like
Show some titties at church. Pastor ain't gonna be able to keep a sermon right.
That's true. I agree. Like dudes are trash in general with our thoughts. Like I feel like 98% of our thoughts are sexual anyway.
not those black kings.
We got Almond Raw over here in the corner, like wilding out.
But as far as the hip hop culture,
Back to
the hip hop culture reflects what it used to before white people. White people always fucking something up because it used to just reflect whatever situation that you.
It was very pro-black. I agree with that. Hip hop used to be one of those pro-black things ever.
Or whatever.
Oh yeah, bro. African Bambaataa, Public Enemy.
All of that.
Rakim.
No, it started off. If y'all don't know about Dr. Malik Z. York of the Nuwaubian religion, who separated from the 5% and all of that. That's who African Bambaataa was. It was actually some niggas like spiritual, religious shit in the lyrics of hip hop, and that's how it started. And then it got commercialized. And then it got into it eventually evolved into the shit that we got now. But it did start off as something righteous in the beginning.
If you listen to early 90s hip hop, and you know what, matter of fact,
this history.
No,
that's not getting off the boat.
Okay. Early 90s hip hop, and matter of fact, earlier this week, I was listening to like a little 90s mix, some Tevin Campbell, some different stuff, whatever. I would say, man, it's a lot of like. It's a lot. Oh, I can't. I said early 90s from Tevin Campbell. Apparently, I can't listen to Tevin Campbell, y'all.
Tevin Campbell done sucked a lot of dicks in his lifetime.
For me.
That's why that nigga cheeks look like that. That's what happened when niggas do that.
What?
Suck a lot of dicks in their lifetime.
You saying Tevin Campbell gay? Tevin Campbell gay.
Everybody knows something wrong with that.
You gonna say on this podcast, Tevin Campbell gay?
Something wrong with something.
Proof, man.
What?
Everybody knows
that.
I saw the video when he tackled the dude playing football. It was 10 cheerleaders.
He was up
and he still tackled
Tevin, I tried to protect you, baby.
I'm not saying that he's a homosexual because he tackled a man when there's plenty of women
to tackle.
What I'm saying is the door is not closed. They weren't playing football. Him was playing football.
Listen, Bria, there's a lot of evidence out there. I'm trying to say.
All right,
it's about
but
he was talking to you.
Sometimes you gotta clear it up, man.
All you gotta know is that Quincy Jones raised him.
Oh, well, then
that's all you got to say.
Saying a lot. That being said, too, though, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this though. real talk, like, if you look at some of the 90s hip hop stuff, there's a lot of positive pro-black imagery in there. Even like cross colors clothes and like just all the like the African stuff.
So they have positive and negative because NWA was out.
Yes, how you say shit in the field? I ain't even old enough, man.
Butterfly, what's on this soul? Let me see you to 0. You
gotta go right.
That's the percentage.
Here's what we at the same place I think when we got off with the NFL.
Okay.
With hip hop. Hip hop as itself is artistic expression.
Right.
We can't expect that every artist is gonna feel like African Boom Bap.
You can't.
Some of them gonna feel like
Soulja Boy.
Who?
Ice-T.
Who? Yeah, colors. But some of them gonna feel like this my plug walk. Let me show you how my plug talk. Because that's in, and these are air quotes, pod, artists. That's the reality that he's trying to express. And you know what? I can't even knock him for that. I knock myself for the fact that you think that's something worth telling somebody about. I faulted you, little boy. I should have volunteered. I should have came to the PTA meetings. Because you shouldn't be out there thinking that anybody care about your plug talk and your video is trash.
Ooh.
You can't come on the show. Intern Fernando. Look up plug talk. And you got the plug walk. You got a song without a dance that's begging for a dance. But we're talking about the culture in general. Nah, it just made me mad.
Nah, you can get mad because you know what? I agree with that. I feel like this, man. Hip hop is an artistic expression. You can't really control art or whatever. Oh, you can get that and that. I don't care about that.
Yeah,
but you can't really control people's art or expression. But hip hop also is so immersed within black culture or whatever. Like when you have the BET Awards or whatever, right? 90-some-odd% of them awards is like hip hop awards. Like they're about hip hop or whatever. We don't give out a BET award for best black political person. We don't give that out. You know what I'm saying? So hip hop, it's just like when Marcus, guest host Marcus that was on here. Shout out to Marcus. He say all the time, is hip hop our culture? Like, what is black culture? Is it just hip hop? I disagree that it's just hip hop, but it is
very much more.
I was trying to say it's
there's Condoleezza Rice and Colin Powell.
It's
We're immersed as white people, so we ain't got too much.
Who is?
Wow.
What's black
So
culture?
says your hair.
Well, that's a good question. What's black culture? What's black
You
culture?
look like y'all can just name out a whole list. What black culture besides hip hop? Nigga. I love saying nigga. That's black culture.
You love saying nigga. With funerals, there's usually a family disagreement.
This nigga back wow.
Is that not? Oh, yeah, we laughing because we know it's black culture.
Oh my god.
But them just people problems.
I think white people argue at funerals.
That's right, because they people problems.
That's people
But
problem.
it's hard.
Ain't a
when
lot of
it's
black folks.
Well, you know what? Don't make me feel bad about black people not having a culture tank. White people ain't got no culture either.
White people have zero.
All their culture is stolen.
I'm just saying, we know
at least we invented hip hop.
We were stolen. Our culture,
Nutella is delicious. Y'all need to cut that shit
our
out.
culture is all back in West Africa.
My
and
culture is
Balu.
I don't think so.
My culture is
Well,
your
tell me
hair.
what's black culture?
I mean, when we came to America, once we learned how to function and we learned English and everything like that, we made what is cool. We made what is hip. We made what is hot. Our music is hot. White people want to listen to our music that we listen to. White girls want to blow up their lips because they want to look like black girls.
And what else?
When I go to work, they want to touch my hair because it's all curly.
Don't ask a black girl to touch your
When
hair.
I-
Fire.
Yeah, I agree. Don't do that.
Take your knee.
Don't ask a black girl to touch your hair. Go ahead, Bree. I'm sorry.
We
Continue.
make up the slang. When people say turn up, when people say the sugar is real, that's
It's lit.
our stuff.
Lit.
Once it's lit. Those are our things.
So basically,
That's
American culture is black culture. Is that what you're saying?
It's not a lot. Like if I think
Nah.
you just said a couple of things, but I can think when I think about Mexican, when I think about
What you
Russian,
think about what makes it?
tacos, that's one, sombreros, salsa.
When the last time you see the sombrero?
I was
say Mexican.
Hey, you think about it.
Sasha, I know you watching the show. When the last time you put on a sombrero?
Thank you.
And it wasn't anniversary night.
That's it. And you ain't put on scotch.
So are you saying that we have the same amount? Of
No, I'm saying
But you think it's pretty obvious that every
I
Hispanic
think
honest. It's a whole
I
bunch of
think
stuff.
real
They
things
sell them at
combined
Walmart.
and American culture is black culture.
What is American culture besides slang?
Everything that's American.
Besides slang and music.
But wait, no, there is an American culture because when you go to a foreign country, they know how American acts. They have stereotypes or whatever, and we invented all that shit.
American.
So, since you don't think we have a black culture, what's white culture? Since we immersed in
No. I mean, I'm saying because
on point today.
This is my point. Because we don't have one doesn't mean that white people have one. White people don't have one either.
So you said Americans don't have culture?
That don't make no sense.
Yeah.
Let me
I
tell you.
never said that. We are mixed in crackers and stuff. And
So
what
what
do
is
white?
their
I mean, what do what? I don't know because I don't
I
know.
want
In
you
tune
to
with white people
I
like
want you
that.
to
I mean, what do they like? Hot dogs. A lot of motherfuckers. corn.
Tabasco.
I don't know.
Mayonnaise. White people love mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise.
No, let me tell you what American
Everybody that's
culture-
watching,
American-
y'all comment down below and let me know what type of mayonnaise y'all like so we can get them as a sponsor on the show. Shout out to Dukes.
Louisiana.
Niggas got hip hop and
It's
slang.
like money
It's
is.
on the slang. We got hip hop and slang. You put me on that one.
No.
That's what we
We got everything, right?
What else? What is everything?
This is
Music.
American
That's
culture.
it, hip-hop.
American
Music,
American
slang.
culture is the American ideal. It's the melting pot. We all pick the things we want. Who has not tried to use chopsticks?
I can't do it.
Who has not tried?
Everybody try.
You gonna try chopsticks?
I ain't fucking no
You ain't never tried no
He
chopsticks.
done tried it. I done been there. It was funny.
Fuck off. I did?
Yeah, it was funny.
Like willingly? It was
Yeah.
always
It was
the
two
only
drinks
only
for them.
thing there.
I believe it went just
Yeah,
like
Have you
this.
ever
Man, what
read,
the
have you
fuck
ever
is
read a
this?
fortune cookie?
Yeah.
You ever read a fortune cookie?
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever worn a sombrero?
Oh, no.
But you not had a taco.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You ever had a kebab?
Bob, shout out to the
A
Middle
gyro?
East.
What is it?
Free Palestine.
Right.
If you go
American
to
culture.
Jamaica,
American culture is what America wants to be when it grows up.
Yeah.
It's, you know what? We pick the things we like, and yeah, it is okay, even though it ain't mine, because I like it. See, American society, unfortunately, is black people do that, white people do that, Hispanics do that. But guess what? Coronas,
They
I ain't
were
gonna say no
delicious.
more.
And
I
then
ain't
I
gonna say
discovered
no more.
Dos Equis.
they ain't struggling. Who buying them? Intern Bud, percentage of Corona drinks that are of Latin or Hispanic descent.
I've never seen a Mexican person drinking a Corona.
Cause
They drink Tecate. Yeah.
Dos
Modelo.
Equis.
Yeah. Dos Equis. I've never seen them drink
Mexicans hate
Corona.
on the Taco Bell. Why did we hating on the Taco
Cause
Bell?
it's
that's not
nasty.
authentic.
Now wait a minute. Now I done had real Mexican food. You can't compare Taco
Taco
Bell
Bell is not
to the greatness that is Mexican food,
Just like
bro.
Chinese
No,
food
when you
is
get a
not.
taco,
Right.
it's a taco.
Chinese
taco is not.
All you gotta tell them is put extra meat in the shit with extra lettuce, and they're gonna be just like that Mexican shit.
You crazy?
It's not.
You crazy as hell.
It's just not.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, burrito?
Y'all gotta understand. Take
So
my
you can
Mexican
get,
food
so you can get
fam.
ribs from anywhere.
All of
You
them gonna
can
blow
get
their
ribs
ass
from
wide
anywhere.
open.
You can get reels from anywhere.
All of them gonna blow
You get
your
ribs
ass
from
wide
anywhere.
open. Mexican food. What?
You can get ribs from anywhere.
What are you talking about? You can get ribs for anybody.
You can get
reels
collard greens from
You say you
anywhere.
can get tacos from Taco Bell and they taste just like
Welcome
Taco
to KFC.
All real
Taco-
Would you like
taco
collard greens?
Lettuce and cheese.
Collard
Like
greens.
chicken wings. You get fried chicken wings anywhere.
Are they the same everywhere?
You go to Chinese places, you get some fried chicken wings. You fried chicken
Are they
wings.
the same as? Are they the same?
I mean, yeah.
If that's how you do yours with a little soy sauce.
Yeah, unless you get a
You
specific kind.
Now,
No,
you
I'm
lie.
talking about wings are the same everywhere. Unless you go unless you sauce.
Wings ain't the same everywhere.
Unless you talking about the sauce.
We're not talking about this real quick. Wings ain't the same
Who
everywhere.
living in your
Fry
house?
some wings in your house and then go to a Chinese place and tell me to give me 4 wings and some fried rice. It's gonna taste the same, not exactly like yours. Of course, homemade is all gonna be better, but it ain't gonna be that much off. It's gonna taste like chicken.
Tankacoon, he eat.
Oh.
Asian fried wings.
Which
Cause
you
it's
heard, Brian?
So Popeyes tastes like
Not
golden
going
egg
away,
roll.
right?
So what?
Popeyes tastes like golden egg roll.
Oh no,
Tastes
no.
like KFC.
No, you can taste it different, but it's still
What
wings.
difference?
It's still wings.
A seasoning difference?
Yeah,
A cultural difference?
Perhaps. You can say what's better. I ain't saying Mexican authentic ain't better, but it's still just a taco. Throw some meat in that bitch.
So we bring KFC up to your job and see what they got to say.
KFC what?
Who made this macaroni?
I don't like KFC.
Well,
No,
no,
like
hold
real.
on, macaroni now, that's a whole nother.
Hold on.
That's different food, definitely.
So you are telling me
the
that
smoky-
Karen is going to put things in the potato salad like a
Unnecessary.
unnecessary. Oh hell no, Karen.
I think I must say, you can keep your fried chicken with the soy sauce.
I tell you what though, man. Back to the
What was you talking about? You
hip
talking
hop
about
culture.
culture.
Wait. Back to the hip hop culture thing or whatever. I'll say this. Bria changed my mind about like black people inventing a lot of stuff in America. In the culture, American culture is black culture. You got me on that one, Bria. But I'll say this. I don't think most black people identify that American culture as their culture.
We do.
No, most, not you, man.
I know, because I don't know
Y'all
what I
know.
do that's American.
Nice
We do
haircut,
not
brother.
identify American culture as our culture.
Yeah, we
What do
don't.
I do that's
I don't think we do.
I like your European hairstyle, brother Tank.
What?
What is they trying to say that your hair? You saying that you don't do anything that's American? He's saying your
And
hair
those are
is
some nice.
American.
What are
My haircut
those?
American?
Are those British beads?
Oh, those are African beads. Now.
Wow.
That's African.
And airbrush is distinctly black.
Okay, I know y'all can't see me right now, but all of the shit on me and nigga shit. No, I'm not saying that always is, but I already put an S curl in my shit before. My shit was smooth in the
Boy, I remember you had an S curl.
Boy, my shit was slick, boy.
Boy, remember I had perm? Yeah, boy.
I mean,
This nigga had a perm.
Hey, one time, y'all, real talk, one time I had a perm and I had a David Ruffin perm.
bring out those things.
Y'all want somebody to take a knee. Y'all out here playing with y'all. Wait a minute.
Shoot.
Two little Indian boys.
I missed another show. Oh, it's gonna kill me. Oh man, intern brother just handed this. U.S. culture has also been shaped by the cultures of Native Americans. Damn, we need to bring up the Indians. Who? Native Americans, Latin Americans, Africans,
Sorry.
Asians.
Black people have no culture. We're missing American culture,
It's described as no culture.
which is no culture. So ain't nobody over this motherfucker got no culture.
I see both.
But we came from different lands.
I see both arguments. I see how black culture
Yeah.
is American culture, and I also see how Tank saying like, ain't nobody got no culture.
We ain't got no culture.
Whatever. All of our cultures are from something else. Whatever.
American culture is hot dogs. Because every time a foreign person talk about some shit,
They do
talk
that. Now Tank got point. They
American
always bring
like
up hot dogs and hamburgers. They always bring that up.
Americans get mad if you show up to a barbecue and all they got is hot dogs and hamburgers.
No, black Americans
Black.
get mad. Let me show
Wait,
up.
that's black culture? That's black culture?
Your uncle, them uncles with the Jesus sandals on the grill. That's
There we go.
yeah. Now that's black culture. If you go to a barbecue and the nigga ain't got on Jesus sandals and ain't no reels on that grill, that ain't no real barbecue. You need to get up out of there.
What if you go to a crab boil that's indoors?
Oh man, you gonna choke everybody.
Oh, we
A
got
crab.
culture.
Where you putting the pot in?
That was going through my head. Like,
I don't eat crabs, bro,
Stove
nation.
top? Stove top? Who don't eat crab?
I don't eat crabs. That's against God's
I
will.
eat crab.
You allergic? Yeah, you eat crabs?
Yeah.
I don't eat crabs, man.
Candice,
America's
if you watch
America's
your
top
family.
10 favorite foods. Oh, shout out, Candace. I ain't mean to cut you off.
Americans.
Top 10 favorite foods. We gonna go through this whole thing. We got to. No, I'm gonna start at number 10. Number 10, America's favorite food, potato chips.
Okay.
Number 9, donuts.
Damn right.
Number 8, ice cream. And not gelato.
It's fine.
Not gelato.
Real ice cream. I can go with
Number 7, shout out to Whitney, chicken tenders.
Oh, you got damn right.
That's-
That's five.
What's
the sauce?
That's all Whitney eat is chicken tenders.
You got damn right.
Number 6, soda or pop for you up north niggas. We call it Coke down here in the South.
I'm trying to stop.
Number 5, which I feel like is coming in way too low, pizza.
I love
That's
Niggas love.
what you say, African American?
Niggas love. And that ain't even our shit.
Pizza is Italian. That's very true.
Exactly.
Matter of fact, we
That's
have
American.
Yeah. Donuts might be American, and so might be potato chips. I don't think those from other countries.
Okay.
Ice cream from another country.
Pizza from Chicago.
Pizza's from Chicago. No, they have good pizza in Chicago. I'm pretty sure it's from New York and Italy, though, right?
New York.
They got pizza
Yeah.
on this shit as American food.
Yeah.
All right, continue.
Okay.
Thank you. That's
Number
our
4,
culture.
y'all gonna be shocked by this one. Oreo cookies, not
Get the
cookies.
fuck out of here.
Oreo cookies. It is the number 1 selling cookie in the world.
That's something like
It
this.
is.
But yeah, I love Oreos.
I
I like
like them. I
Oreos.
like them in
So you
shapes.
telling me I'm the only nigga at this table that eat Oreos?
I like
Y'all
Oreos.
No,
I don't eat them like
I eat them,
that.
but I don't look to go buy them.
dip them in the milk and then like bring
Have
them
you
out.
ever said?
Look at your
Have
mouth.
you ever said no to an Oreo?
Yeah, have you ever said no to Oreo?
I like chips and
Yeah,
letter.
right.
You like chips or what? It's all about the same company.
I know, but I like chips on that.
Man, Oreos taste better. Okay,
You
in
probably
the
like
top
fries.
3, America's favorite food and part of our culture forever. Number 3, French fries.
Of course.
Yeah.
Got to have some French fries.
And,
Loaded fries.
I think in France they call them pommes frites.
That ain't even us. That's French.
That's French. Pommes frites. Actually, it's Belgium. Pommes
Yeah.
frites.
We'll
And,
take it. We're American.
Number 2, which is German, hot dogs.
I knew hot dog was
And,
up there.
and solidifying tank
If you're
coming in at
hungry.
number 1, hamburgers. So take right. Our culture is hip hop, hot dogs, and hamburgers.
It is what it is, okay?
Very true.
We left our culture in Africa, man. And we had to make up whatever we can while we was here.
So who brought the okra?
Chitlins.
Who brought the okra?
We bought the okra.
We bought the okra.
You bought
Okra is
okra?
African,
Yeah,
yeah.
my nigga, there we go. Hey,
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Support
very
that.
Black
African.
people ain't know what they do when they came over here.
I love that.
They surely did.
Let me tell you, it's the reason
White
we
people
got.
are
It's the reason we got.
Vultures of every culture.
Yeah, it's true. They were like, we don't know how to do nothing. Somebody go get me some niggas.
White people are vampires of everybody else's culture. Blood
Yeah.
sucking
They
motherfuckers.
do.
But we all like pizza though.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Okay.
I bet they stole that.
It's good.
Intern Bud. Intern Bud. See if they stole. See if they stole pizza from. See if they stole pizza from the Egyptians.
I don't trust them, boy. I don't think white people came up with
I
nothing.
mean, Ra made the first pizza when he was creating the
I feel like
universe.
everything in America came from somewhere.
Yeah.
It did.
You
It's
mean
some
like
Native
the people?
Americans.
Not just the people.
But I can say this. Look at this. We need to stop acting like this shit ain't all genetic and a part of evolution, and like we can't learn anything from what these white people done did across the whole world. Anytime I say I respect white people for doing this, niggas look at me like crazy.
Well, why you can't respect white people? Like, I don't understand that. We can't respect them for what they did.
Because I appreciate
They done took over.
I don't
the fucking
respect slavery, but I damn sure
No,
respect
no,
some of the other
They done
aspects
took
of
over
it.
the fucking world.
I like, you know what's something that white people invented that I enjoy? Democracy. I enjoy that. That's a Greek invention.
That's not my thing.
Why don't we didn't? Well, okay.
That's a Greek thing.
Oh, okay. I thought
Because in Africa, it's monarchies everywhere, kings and
I
shit
support that.
everywhere.
Okay.
So I'm not a monarchy guy. I'm a democracy dude or whatever. And I'm a super democracy dude. I want one man, one vote. Like old school Greek shit. I don't even want to. Yeah, I don't even want a leader. Oh, Johnny feel like that too? Shout out to Johnny. Appreciate the cruise. Appreciate us agreeing politically. I'm just saying, one man, one vote. I don't even want a leader. Whatever the majority rule, that's the majority rule. That's Greek
White
shit.
people say,
I'm
fuck
for
the king.
I prefer,
Yeah, fuck the
I prefer
king.
divine rule.
So you like divine
I'm
rule?
all about
Well,
it.
that should have fucked up a whole everything.
But
But
see, I got kings.
Almost every African kingdom that we reference that we come from is monarchies,
If
divine rule.
if it's ruled by divine rule, it's gonna fuck up everything.
I'm just not down.
Now, you mean like Trump might end up being your king?
Yeah, but you know what? He
That's
only
what
king
this
for
episode.
4 years. Ain't at the most.
That's right. Yeah, that's
I
why I
can
like
deal with
democracy.
it.
We
That's
can
why
cycle them in,
you can
cycle
deal
them out.
with it. That's why when niggas say, "Oh, you ain't gonna vote for him,"
How long?
no, I'd rather vote with have my integrity. Yeah, I just want to say this. I'd rather have my integrity and not vote for that bitch and let this shit go devastating.
All I'm gonna take is dead ass wrong for not voting for Hillary. He do have the right not to.
Wait, no.
Hold on.
Let me just say one point.
No,
If it's
you talking about 4 years.
Hold on, let me just say this.
Oh,
If it's somebody who in the Democratic Party who you just detest, who done did this, and you just cannot vote for them, all right? And then it's Trump on the other end or whatever. You still gonna vote for this person just because they're Democrat?
That's not what we're discussing. My
That's
question
what-
to you
that's
is,
Hillary.
you said 4 years. What's 4 years? You know what 4 years is? 4 years is enough time for people to invest in houses.
And fuck up the whole economy.
And then-
I come back. Obama was 8 years.
No, wait.
Seven now.
Man, I agree with you. I agree with you.
4
man.
years. People don't stay in relationships for 4 years if it ain't working.
Bush,
Long last time, boy, 4 years.
Yeah.
Bush
4 years,
crashed the
man.
economy in 8. So that's true.
And then bounce right back.
But at the same time, though,
Yeah, what bounce right back?
Right back.
No.
it took Obama 3 years.
See,
That
shit ain't
That's right.
Oh, bro, listen.
Hey,
How to
look,
bounce back.
Girl,
Like big
that
time
recession did
stride.
not affect no nigga I know.
It did.
It affected me
It
and my whole
did.
goddamn
'Cause
family.
I couldn't get a job.
Because you was in real estate.
I couldn't get a job.
No, because we niggas.
I don't know why you. So what?
I said it affected my
You in the real estate?
Homeowners.
No, it was the recession affected everybody.
know.
It's
It-
not
it-
just
it
us.
affected-
The
wait a minute.
unemployment rate
Everything I
was-
talk to that shit ain't affected.
Homeowners.
Oh.
People in the trades. Anybody in the real estate industry, anybody who's
man, you better say niggas looking for jobs. Because you couldn't even get a job.
We have in Florida where real estate is really a big deal, and if you need assistance.
Man.
I was fine during the recession. I just want to say that out. And I was the bottom of the bottom, so the bottom of the bottom is good.
So you went from the bottom and stayed at the bottom at the recession.
Whatever.
No, that's what you're saying?
No. I was doing the same shit before the recession, and then when that shit hit, I was doing the same shit, and then afterwards, I done came up. Thank you, Obama.
Thank you.
Prostitute.
Well, I say this before we wrap it up. On the hand of what Tank's saying is, okay, it's 4 years or it's only 8 years. That's the whole premise of democracy, that you can cycle them in, cycle them out.
Yeah,
but then on the hand of monarchies or whatever, like Queen Elizabeth, she's been in power for 50 years. So if you get a monarch in there and they ruling, right, but that's a constitutional monarchy. We talk about monarchies in general, so they can be set up any kind of ways. But in general, if you get a head of state from a monarchy, they in there till they die. So I'm always gonna be down with the democratic way, which is get them out of there. Yeah, you gotta kill them if you want them gone.
Well, I say, yeah. That's you like that shit.
Killmonger was the rightful heir to the throne. That's all I'm saying.
I was looking at the text. Caught me at a bad moment.
Killmonger was the rightful heir to the throne, man. But we can go ahead and wrap it up, man. We appreciate everybody.
No, man, I want to talk some more, man.
About what?
We going on. All right, look at
next week, bro.
Motherfucking Castro took over a whole country. You got some hoodlums, got some thugs, and we're like, fuck this shit. All right.
Castro.
No, Castro. Was that Castro? In Cuba.
Yeah, that's Castro.
Yeah, what is that? A dictatorship?
That's dictatorship.
It's the same thing in monarchy.
That's communism too. That's a whole different thing. It's not the same.
Oh, brother.
Because technically, when dictatorship, yeah, I was about to say, because with dictatorships, technically they vote on that, but the dictator always wins. How does that happen?
Not with Russia.
Yeah, Putin saying, shout out to Putin, come on the podcast, you'll change the world.
But you gotta wear a shirt and you can't ride a horse.
That's it. Okay, first of all, you ain't gonna disrespect the president. Putin don't ride horses, he's ride bears.
Putin came on that big boy.
If Putin came on this podcast, we lit.
Niggas,
bro, we lit that week.
Who all here?
Who gotta be on who
here for that? I'm here for that.
I'm here. Y'all for that. You're not talking to Putin. I'm live on Facebook. That's it.
No, I'm saying 5 Putin, boy.
I need to talk. You talking to Putin, Bria? What you not talking to Putin? No.
Trump come in. Are we chilling with Trump? I'm chilling with Trump.
I do Trump.
I
feel like I can get through to him.
You do Trump?
I'm definitely
doing Putin.
Okay,
that ain't saying I'm doing Putin.
That's American. Trump, you're a terrible.
That's some American shit.
I need to ask Putin, did he really ride that bear or not? And then he catch that salmon with his mouth. That's it. I mean, yeah, literally.
Fucking with that cracker, boy.
I gotta talk to Putin, man. I wish we could dig up Osama and bring him on here.
Oh, Osama
been lying.
I don't.
You might be
because I agree with it.
Well, we get
now you know
I just want to interview him.
What we get to?
Yeah, I'll interview anybody.
I talk to anybody, really.
Yeah, that's my thing. I want to interview anybody as long as it's interesting.
I talk to motherfucking devil if it was real.
Yeah, I don't care.
All right, Bria said all right. That means your nigga.
That's
over.
Man, okay, so now we're going to go we talk about who we interviewing. Who put the spear in Jesus? Hey, the spear of Jesus, what movie that was in? Constantine. Okay, I had to get it. Okay, you want ball it up, man. You want ball it up.
I did.
We'll go in on, man, and get our final thoughts in. Matt, go ahead with your final thought, baby.
The hardest part of reaching your goals is holding on to your goals. When they tell you can't, you have to make sure you can.
There it is. As always, Uncle Matt, with the deep philosophy. Tank, what's your final thought?
All right. Shit, what we were talking about? Who?
We're talking about NFL, free speech, and hip hop culture.
Oh yeah. Let me go on this free speech. Hey, say whatever you want to say. Do not even work for me. I'm a dad, nigga.
Nigga, take that.
That's one I can get behind. That's one I can get behind.
Say whatever you want to say. Just not when you working for me. Most ass nigga. Okay, that's cool. Bria, what's your final thought?
As a people, we need to stop underestimating ourselves and what we're capable of and what we can and cannot do.
There it is.
Tabernacle.
Wakanda forever.
That's it. Wakanda forever. Oh, hell no, Kevin.
Raisins.
That's what's up. Don't underestimate yourself, people. My final thought is, if you feel like you need to stand up for something, stand up for that shit. I don't care what you feel like is in your way or the hurdle, do it, because it's all about what you think is important and your self-semblance and pride or whatever. So if you believe in something, fight for it. But as always, we appreciate everybody coming and joining us on the Blackest podcast, bro. Listen, check us out next week on episode number 12. As we say every week, all power to the people. Peace.
Flag on the play.
I don't know how to stop that.
Just point it down.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Hey, we still on?
Yeah, you still on?
Man, fuck YouTube. No, not fuck YouTube.
What?
Fuck Facebook.
Oh, God.
What?
Fuck Facebook.
What?
'Cause they got me banned for 30 days. Let me tell you something about this Zuckerberg.